Silent Heart, Deepwoken'S most controversial content. Some of you guys probably just physically recoiled hearing that name because yeah, Silent Heart is that polarizing. Some players hate this oath, some players love it, but no matter what side you're on, you can't deny it's been one of the biggest balancing nightmares in Deepwoken'S history. For a long time now, Silent Heart as a concept has been this unstoppable argument in the community. Every single update, every single patch, every single balanced discussion, somehow it always comes back to this one oath. Even I have big complaints about this, no surprise there, but recently, in the latest Deepwoken update, massive nerfs came crashing down from above, smiting Silent Heart out of the sky. So honestly, this might actually be the death of Deepwoken'S most controversial content. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we're talking about Silent Heart and whether it's finally time for this oath to die. If you've been living under a rock, don't worry, I'll break down the basics before we get into it. Basically, in the latest Deepwoken update, massive nerfs hit one of Silent Heart's most dominant competitive playstyles, and now some players are saying that this oath is completely dead and unusable. So in this video, we're gonna go over what actually happened objectively, then take a look at the community and see if they really think it's over for Deepwoken'S most hated oath. Without further ado, let's break it down. Silent Heart in this update received nothing but objective nerfs, but the oath also doesn't work like normal oath content. A single talent, weapon addition, or even some random bug can basically carry Silent Heart harder than anything else, so we have to look at the bigger picture here before calling it dead. But if we're only talking about the oath's base content, it's definitely not looking good. Since Silent Heart doesn't have access to mantras, mantra feints, or really any reason to spend ether, their entire resource or engine is based off tempo. For every single player of Deepwoken, tempo is already great. With Event, you can escape combos and that can save you, it gets you out of there. But for Silent Heart, it means a lot more than just that. Their vents are clearly a little bit better than normal players with the talents, and they get a huge value from equipment that modifies vents, but tempo is also extremely important for actually dealing damage. So straight up as a Silent Heart, if you're low on tempo, your Rising Star, Relentless Hunt, and Mayhem all deal reduced damage, apply less posture pressure, and come out slower with longer windups. You still have other options, sure, but those key abilities are really the main things keeping your character in the fight. So overall for Silent Heart, tempo is required, and in this update, it just got hit extremely hard. Recently, Silent Heart was updated to regenerate tempo just like everyone else when landing light attacks. Before this update, it had a massive bonus when hitting people, giving about 160% tempo on basic attacks compared to the normal 100%, and now that's been removed entirely. On top of that, Silent Heart's abilities, the same ones we just talked about, only give 30% of the normal tempo regen when they land, and that's pretty bad. With a direct objective nerf to the soul engine of Silent Heart's gameplay, this has had a massive impact on how the oath plays. Instead of spamming vent with barely any risk, you're probably going to see way less spam and a lot more decision making around when Silent Heart players actually spend their tempo. Besides that, the next nuke dropped on Silent Heart, slowing down their spam even further. With what's basically a pseudo balancing bug fix, Silent Heart can no longer use skills while in parry stun. Now, that might sound fair at first, but the real question is, why did they even have no stun in the first place? This single change kills an entire competitive playstyle with the oath, and more specifically, it completely kills one of Silent Heart's biggest cheese options with Mayhem. If you fought against any Silent Heart player, you know they want to run around and just throw out moves. Relentless Hunt can be used at a distance to approach, Ankle Cutter is great for sliding, most Rising Stars can catch players backing up, but they could do all of this risk-free with another ability called Mayhem. So specific to the weapon type, you could cast this offensive rush mid-parry to phase through your opponent and negate all punishment because they couldn't hit you. This was also heavily abused to hide animations while parrying during a roll, and it was straight up busted. It might be rare to see in a casual level of gameplay, but for some of those players at the peak of PvP, they were abusing this to stay out of danger. Pairing that up with the previous insane tempo regen, combo breaking vents, and resistance from dread stacks, these guys just weren't easy to drop. Besides that, with a smaller nerf to the heavy weapon Rising Star, I mean, yeah, this uppercut variant is slower, but it's not even really discussed compared to these last nukes. So sure, this hurts, but for most builds, this wasn't gonna make or break a Silent Heart build as a whole. In this patch, not only was Silent Heart's main engine for defense and offense gutted, but the most unpunishable ability was kicked to the ground. In terms of game balance, this is great, it's almost wonderful, but this poses the question, is Silent Heart really dead? After taking a look at the community, talking to the competitive scene, and trying it out for myself, let's see if Silent Heart is really cooked. Based on all the nerfs here, the largest one overall has gotta be the tempo regeneration. No matter how you play, either aggro or super defensive, tempo is a key resource that you need to be mindful of regardless. Starting this update, you can't really throw out moves without thinking, since there isn't a cushion to fall back onto. Vents are great and they're still viable on any Silent Heart build, but if you ever drop to 0 tempo, half of your offensive kit suffers extremely. Overall, that's the largest nerf in my opinion, and a ton of people agree, but it's nothing comparable to the parry stun changes. With the removal of unpunishable parry stun abilities, your playstyle either got cooked or basically nothing changed. It's pretty polarizing here. Most players who didn't care about animation hiding or abusing parry stun to escape punishment, they lost nothing. With this specific change, literally, there's almost no difference in their gameplay, but if you played Silent Heart specifically to move stack during parries, this is gonna hurt the most. A lot of people say it's already hard for Silent Heart to respond to up-close interactions without a tool like this, since they can't use mantras or mantra feints to create pressure. And simply because of that, this single nerf might have actually made Silent Heart more toxic. Instead of responding to a parry with an attack, Silent Heart players now benefit way more from just running away. This change basically forces Silent Heart to stay at range almost all the time, waiting for cooldowns so they can approach from a distance. Parry trading just isn't that viable at a competitive level because Silent Heart doesn't really have mix-ups, and for some of these players, they've now lost the ability to use unpunishable moves. So technically, these massive nerfs don't really kill Silent Heart. They might just make it even more toxic by pushing it towards a range spam playstyle. Now, for my opinion, overall, I think that these balance changes were positive for the game's balance and honestly required to cut out some bugs, but I'm still a bit afraid for the future of this oath. Remember what I said earlier, Silent Heart is fundamentally game-breaking and almost impossible to balance, and yeah, I'm not being hyperbolic. I don't think that this oath is dead whatsoever, regardless of these insane massive nerfs, because players are just gonna play more defensively with more ranged mage spam. And seriously, that's not gonna be great for anyone to fight against or even to use, since it just slows down the game even further, but I guess we'll have to see. The tempo nerfs should somewhat nerf this sort of playstyle and will reduce the use of active abilities and damage mods like Ardor Scream, but it should cut down the spam heavy playstyle from a distance. So I'm pretty scared for the meta, but hey, at least this oath got nerfed a bit. Since Silent Heart doesn't have a base kit built around real mix-ups, players simply aren't gonna engage in trades anymore. Anyway, that's about it for now. Silent Heart isn't dead, but it feels like you're almost required to play passively now, and that kinda sucks. So share your thoughts down below, I'll send some feedback to the devs, and maybe we'll find some actual balance for this oath. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out the channel because it means a lot. If you want to join as a member for my channel, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord and my UGC group are linked down below, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.